Biscuits. For the first time in over 25 years, it's time to introduce your Knoxville Smokies.
Go Smokies!
Smokies fans, welcome back to segment 2 of our Pilot pregame show. Got to remind you that Pilot is committed to connecting people and places with comfort, care, and a smile at every stop. They're a proud sponsor of the Knoxville Smokies and your game day drive. So Pilot, see you out here. Alongside now producer Dan stepping onto the mic. He was our designated eater, voice of Smokies baseball. Mick Gillespie headed to the stadium right now to go get everything prepared for the broadcast so that everybody listening on radio right now can make sure that they are ready for all 9 innings of Smokies baseball. So, Daniel, on our Pilot pregame show, we just went through a bunch, our starting pitchers, our featured batters, and maybe most exciting of all, our food review. We still got a little bit of it, what's left at least, still here in front of us. So to just review real quickly, we had the Black Watch Burger. That's a Red Dragon, Dijon cheddar, smoked bacon, local blackberry jam-filled burger. It was phenomenal, I believe. And then you had the pretzels and the cheese. That is the Gaelic beer cheese appetizer. You're holding the pretzel up. You still got a little bit of it left. So, I mean, I believe, what was the final score you gave that one?
9.5.
9.5, and I went with a 9.6 on the burger. So,
wow.
Can't go wrong at the Jig and Reel. So, now that we're kind of wrapped up our food review, let's go ahead and get into the rest of our Pilot pregame show. And Daniel, we always got to talk a little bit on these pregame shows about our big brothers, the Cubs up in Chicago. So right now, everybody knows getting close to October, close to playoff baseball season, and the Cubs right now are set up as a team who will make the playoffs. They're not going to win their own division. The Milwaukee Brewers seem like they pretty much locked it up. But right now, if you look at the wild card, the Cubs are in the best spot. They're 5.5 games up on the next team. That's the San Diego Padres. And then the New York Mets is holding that final wild card spot. And you've also got the Cincinnati Reds, St. Louis Cardinals, and maybe even the Arizona Diamondbacks within striking distance here towards the end of the season. So, Daniel, my question to you is, the Cubs seem like they're pretty solidified up there at the top of the wild card, but do you foresee maybe the Reds, Cardinals, or Diamondbacks shaking things up and punching out the Padres or the Mets?
I think one of the teams obviously at the top near the wild card, only a half game back of the Mets, is the Reds, and they're 6-4 in their last 10 games. They're starting to play good baseball, and you continue to add on to that and get stack wins after wins. I think they'll find themselves in good position. And the Mets, they're 4-6 in their last 10, so they're not playing their best baseball right now. And if the Reds can gain a little movement where that separation is, climb up the ladder, I think they're in position because they're only a half game back, and they've got a lot of young talent on that team, and they've got a veteran coach too. So I think the Reds are a team to watch, especially the Mets need to watch out for them.
Definitely. I think it's worth noting, too, that when you're looking at these wild card teams, breaking down who was a buyer and who was a seller at the deadline. So you see the Cubs, Padres, and Mets all in the wild card race right now. They're solidified. If the season ended today, they would make the playoffs. All three of those teams were buyers at the deadline. Well, the Cubs may have had what wasn't the most explosive deadline that maybe Cubs fans were hoping for. They still made some moves to try and improve this team. Same thing with the Padres and the Mets. But then you get the Reds and the Cardinals, where the Reds did make a few additions at the deadline, but the Cardinals and Diamondbacks were teams that we were talking rumors about them selling out everything they had. In fact, a lot of the Diamondbacks starting pitchers were rumored that they could end up on the Cubs. None of them did, but it's just interesting to see how those teams that maybe didn't think they had the best shot only a couple weeks ago at the trade deadline are still within striking distance of that wild card spot. And, you know, that's kind of our main Cubs news. Of course, we kind of prefaced it a little bit earlier, but Kyle Tucker does have the fractured hand. He's going to be out for a little bit longer, which is going to give former Smoky Owen Casey a little bit more time to shine. Maybe he can make a big impact. Maybe he will force himself onto that playoff roster, because it would be pretty cool to see a rookie making a splash at the biggest stage of the season. So that's going to wrap up kind of our Cubs news to start off our Pilot pregame show segment number 2. And then just to bring you back a little bit towards tonight, it's family game night. We showed the video already. You know what? I can't get enough of Richie's acting here, Daniel. I'm going to play it one more time for anybody who didn't see it. It's family game night. If you're here at the Jig and Reel, you still have time to go get tickets. And, our main man, Richie Giuliano, was the star. Here's the video.
Oh my God, who are you? What are you holding? Are you gonna kill me? Ah!
The team did a phenomenal job on that video. Not exactly sure who all was in part in putting that together, but I know the team over at the Smokies are just, they're so good at capitalizing on these theme nights. There's always some sort of promotional video that is just totally out of the box, unique, that they do a great job of putting together. So fun that we finally got to see our guy, Richie Giuliano, starred in one of these films. Who knows, Dan? Maybe you'll be up next.
Yeah, that's true.
Hopefully you don't get axed off like he did, though.
I'll tell you one thing. Richie has a future in acting.
Oh, well, you might be the only one who will say that today. But if we go ahead and get into our matchup spotlight for tonight, just to give you some quick hitters, it's going to be Tyler Schlafer, the number 30 overall prospect in the Cubs system, on the mound for the Smokies against Ty Johnson, the number 19 overall prospect for the Rays, on the mound for the Biscuits. And right now the Biscuits lead the series 2-1. But if you rewind just a week ago, the Smokies were shut out in the first 2 games at Rocket City and won the final 4, trying to do that again here and win a series because they're going to have to win 3 in a row here on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to go ahead and pull out that series win. But, we're still 8 games back at the Birmingham Barons, and you never know what could happen because we play them next week. So if we're able to get into 6.5 back by the end of this series, Smokies could be setting themselves really nicely to play spoiler and upset and really go ahead and shake up the Southern North. So I'm not exactly sure how that's going to look in the long term for them because, of course, baseball, you get day by day. You got to make sure we're focusing on the little things that are going to get you in the win column tonight. So let's go ahead and break down the starting lineups that each team is going to be featuring. I'll go ahead and start it off, Dan. We're going to go ahead and start it off with the opposing team, the Montgomery Biscuits. And right now, they're going to be aligned like this. It's the leadoff man, Colton Ledbetter, up at the leadoff spot again. He's playing right field. Homer Bush Jr., the center fielder, bats second. Yadier Arenamo, who's hit both of his first 2 AA home runs in this series, he's batting third at second base. Cooper Kinney does the cleaning up at first. They have Braden Taylor, the third baseman, batting 5th. Will Simpson, the DH today, bats 6th. Tatum Levens does the catching in the 7th spot. Gregory Barrios, their slick fielding shortstop, will be in the 8 hole. And Brock Jones, the former Stanford standout, will be in left field. He's a left-handed batter with a little bit of juice and some speed out of that 9th spot, all playing behind Ty Johnson, their top prospect on the mound. So that's the Montgomery Biscuits 1-9. Daniel, how is Lance Reimel going with the 1-9 for the Smokies?
Well, Connor, leading off for the Smokies in center field is Brett Bateman. And then batting second at third base, Pedro Ramirez. Batting third for the Smokies at first base, B.J. Murray Jr. Batting fourth in right field, Jalen Palmer. Batting fifth at shortstop, Jefferson Rojas. Batting sixth at second base, Rayvaj Garcia. Batting seventh in left field, Jordan Wogu. Batting eighth at catcher, Ethan Hearn. And then finishing off batting ninth at DH, Andy Garriola.
I like how they're aligning the lineup today. You're saving some power towards the bottom with Hearn and Garriola, with Jordan Wogu and Rayvaj Garcia, 2 primary contact bats, just inputted in the middle of the lineup there. I like how Lance Reimel is breaking it up. And then, so that kind of leads us into our next segment, which is our players to watch. So, Daniel, we always talk about one guy that we're kind of keeping our eye on to go ahead and get ourselves in the win column. Yesterday, I called out Ethan Hearn. I was talking about how I love when he's able to get on plane. It just feels like every time that he's on and when he's hitting homers, they're majestic fly balls. And what do you know? He did it again last night. So I will let you go first. Dan, who was your player to watch for game number 4?
I'm going to have to go with the guy who hit 4 hits yesterday, Jordan Wogu.
That's right.
Flash of leather pretty much all night. He was so dialed in at the plate, just found a way to get on base. 4 times he had 4 hits. So that was big for the Smokies offense, really gave them a boost in their lineup. And he's on a hot start right now. So look for him to continue to see the ball very well at the plate and produce for the Smokies offense.
Yeah, that's the second time this season that he's gone out with a 4-hit performance. And this is not the same Jordan Wogu that we've seen in past years. I know, Daniel, neither of us have been with the Smokies past this season, but, the numbers say a lot. And then talking to Richie and Mick, who have seen Wogu for a couple of years now, this is a guy who came out of college with a lot of raw power. And you see him, he's huge. He was recruited to play Division I football right out of high school, but chose to go play baseball. And he is massive. He has the power to hit the ball out of the yard, but this season we've seen him with a completely new approach. And we're going to try to get some questions to him today or tomorrow and really see what kind of things that he's been focusing on this season that have, implemented that change, because he's got no homers. He's been a guy who's put up double-digit homers in the last couple of seasons in professional baseball. So interesting to see how he's transitioned his game. He's got a lot of speed, and right now he's using a lot of singles to get himself around the bases and manufacture some runs for the Smokies. Looking forward to another big night from him after going 4 for 4 last night, like you mentioned, Daniel. But, I'm going to run it back. I said I called out Ethan Hearn last night. I'm going to do it again tonight. He's already had 2 home runs in this series, but the big thing that I think may impact him here tonight, he's doing the catching again. He caught all 9 innings yesterday. And in the 9th inning, he actually took a foul ball off of his right hand, his throwing hand. He was able to stay in the game and finish it out. We talked to him after the game. He said it was fine. And, I think doing the catching again, no days off for the guy who just got beat up yesterday, hit a home run. I'm just hoping it keeps him in the same groove so he's able to launch another one of those majestic home runs out of Covenant Health Park again tonight. And then the other thing that I thought was pretty funny, we asked him last night, he always does this really unique celebration where he kind of puts his hands up like this, and then he does something that, like 2 different hand motions to the bullpen every time he hits a home run. So we finally asked him, and he said himself and the assistant pitching coach, Mario Fernandez, kind of have this inside joke about pasta because Mario's all Italian. Mm-hmm. Hearn is not, but I'm sure he's a guy with some high energy. He's going to get on you, and he's going to relate to you no matter what. So he's showing up the little pasta hand to the bullpen every time he hits a home run, showing some love to the bullpen. And that's what you have to do, because when you give your team a lead, the bullpen's got to go shut it down. So you see a lot of those guys implementing a kind of a bullpen reference to their home run celebrations. If you had to have one home run celebration as you're rounding the bases, Daniel, what would it be?
You asked that question, the first thing that came to mind was just pointing to the outfield. I don't know why, but that was the first thing that came to my mind, and it's probably not the best celebration, but I'm just going to go with pointing to the outfield.
Hey, well, it's exactly what I just said. You're just showing some love to the bullpen. It's like, hey, fellas, I'm getting you another run. Let's go ahead and ride with it from there. So those are our players to watch here in this game. Hopeful for another big night for the Smokies after picking up the win in game number 3. We've got game number 4 coming up. Of course, we mentioned that it's family game night. So let's go ahead and talk about some other upcoming promotions that we have. And a big one is happening tomorrow, Daniel. So we're going to have our pregame show here at the Jig and Reel again. But one of the biggest things is that tomorrow night at Covenant Health Park, it's Tennessee night for the Smokies, which means the whole stadium's going to be checkered. There's going to be orange everywhere, and it's going to be a pretty fun night. And to top it all off, we've got this Dylan Sampson bobblehead that is going to be given out to, I believe it's the first 2,000 fans. We'll tentatively say 2,000. I'm not sure if that's the exact number, but Dylan Sampson bobblehead, it's pretty sweet. He was the 2024 SEC Offensive Player of the Year. It's brought to us by TVA Employees Credit Union, so make sure you're getting to Covenant Health Park early. I imagine there will be a line probably multiple blocks long for this bobblehead, and I'm not exaggerating. That's what happens with pretty much every collectible that we give away. And this one with the UT connection, I'm sure it is going to be a hot commodity. So get to Covenant Health Park early. And the other thing about this night, Daniel, is that they're going to be rocking some pretty sweet uniforms. And they finally revealed them on the Smokies social media. So here is a clip for anybody watching here on YouTube who hasn't seen them yet. Our brand new UT jerseys the Smokies will be rocking tomorrow night. So can't forget that you can also bid on those uniforms. So make sure that you're checking out the UT night, all of the upcoming events that's going to happen tomorrow night. The jersey, Daniel, what's your first reaction? I'll get into a little breakdown of what I feel about the jerseys, but what's your first reaction after seeing that video?
I think the Smokies and the orange really pops off front and center on the jersey, but then you look on the shoulder, the Tennessee logo right there with the 3 stars. I think that's a really nice touch, and then you can't not talk about the checkerboard going up the side of the jersey. So
let me bring it back
really
up.
Good touch.
That was one of my favorite aspects of it as well. Just the checkerboard up the sleeves, because when they put out a little sneak peek reveal and you could kind of see the TriStar logo on the sleeve, always a staple, and then the kind of orange script, it was giving me a kind of a what I'd call a Dodgers vibe, pretty minimal. You just want to be real clean with it and use your primary colors to make the jersey pop. And I think that's exactly what they did here with these ones. I'm curious, in the video, you have Yency Almonte and Arian Rodriguez wearing the red primary cap. They've got the white panel on the front, the red panel on the back with a blue bill. I don't know if they'll go with those ones. I feel like maybe avoiding the red with the orange jerseys might make the whole thing fit together a little bit more, maybe lean on the blue and orange instead of blue, orange, and red. I don't know. I'm a colorblind guy, though, Daniel. So what are you thinking about all these colors mixing together?
Yeah, I don't know how much the red and orange goes together, but I kind of like what you said. The blue and orange might look a little cleaner, but definitely that jersey is really going to attract some Tennessee fans to the ballpark. And like they said, you can bid on the jersey as well, and I think that'll be a hot commodity here at Covenant Health Park.
Yeah, it'll be a fun night, and that is kind of one of our last promotions in our second to last homestand of the season. So right now, the Smokies, they're finishing up this series against the Biscuits. And on Sunday, it's also going to be Teach Knox Day. So all Knox County teachers and substitutes are going to get a free ticket by showing their badge at the box office. It's presented by Knox County Schools and UT College of Education. So it's going to be a great night. I know Calvin, a guy who is, I hate to play any spoiler, but sometimes he's in the Knox, sometimes he is Knox as the mascot. He's also a teacher, so I know he's going to have a great time on that day. And then we can't forget to mention all of the promotions that we're going to have on our very final homestand of the year. So we'll go ahead and break it down day by day. We're talking about the very last week of September. The very first week of September. My bad, Daniel. It's September 2nd. We've got the Rocket City Trash Pandas. It's just going to be, the game is presented by Knox County Schools, so not much going on Tuesday, but then Wednesday, it's a classic, a staple, all-you-can-eat Wednesday. Move on a little bit further to Thursday, another staple, Thirsty Thursday. Dan, I know you're a big fan of Thirsty Thursday. You love getting your thirst quenched over there in that craft beer corner in right field, one of the best spots in Covenant Health Park. And then on Friday, we've got Chick-fil-A Family Herd Night, so grab your herd, head to the ballpark to see the Smokies, where it doesn't stop until the cows come home. So it's also Feel Good Fridays, and of course, our summer fireworks series will be happening again on Friday. Saturday, we'll have another day of fireworks. And then finally on Sunday, our Fan Appreciation Day, because in our inaugural season here at Covenant Health Park, back in Knoxville, I should say, Daniel, we have loved all of the support that we've received from all of the fans here in Knoxville. We know how much this city loves baseball. We've seen it through UT, and now you get to see it through another avenue all summer long when UT is taking their break. So happy that the Smokies are back in town, happy that the fans are welcoming us so nicely. So Fan Appreciation Day on the final home game of the season. That's the first week of September against the Rocket City Trash Pandas. Check out SmokiesBaseball.com to go ahead and find your tickets for that one. So that kind of wraps up our Pilot pregame show, Daniel. But one thing that we wanted to talk about, which we kind of talked about on yesterday's pregame show, but a couple of days ago, we just had one of the most insane moments during a broadcast on a game that I think, it could be up there as all time, Daniel. We had a fan come in and throw 91 miles an hour on a velocity competition during the broadcast. So we're going to play the video right here real quick. His name was Tyler. We couldn't get any more information on him because he bolted after he won the competition. We were going to try and get him on the broadcast, maybe learn a little bit more about him, but here is the game-winning throw.
That was 89. He wants 90, Rich. Sign him up! Sign him up, Chicago! Oh, Tyler wins it, Rich. We got to send it back to you. That was wild.
What did he just hit there, Connor?
90 miles an hour, Rich.
90?
91.
91. The youngster might be a Chicago Cub here pretty soon.
I think Richie said it best there at the end, Dan. I mean, if you were a scout in the stands watching maybe one of the Smokies players and you're listening to the broadcast, you hear there's some young fan who just threw 91 miles an hour down the left field line. I might be checking that out too. So who knows? Maybe Tyler will be a Smoky one day in the future, and we'll all get to look back at this moment as a very fond one. But as it is right now. That is just crazy. I did not expect anybody to be throwing 90 miles an hour, let alone even really into the 80s. We had the guy he beat, his name was Cole. He was a great sport. He had a full fan base there in support of him. He was throwing 85 miles an hour. I didn't think anybody was going to beat him. He was wearing a Yankees jersey, though. We got to mention that, too. But glad Tyler came out with the win. We're still looking to see if we could maybe catch him on the broadcast for the last couple of games of the season. So if you know Tyler, send his information our way. We want to talk to this guy. He really made the broadcast that night on a night where it was a slow night for the Smokies offensively, but we got to implement a lot of cool things on the broadcast that night. So hopefully made it an enjoyable experience for anybody tuning in on MILB TV, which is exactly where you can find game number 4 here tonight. Smokies versus Biscuits, game number 4. Dan, any final words before we wrap up our Pilot pregame show?
Smokies got to get a win tonight. You want to try to get in the playoff push. It all starts tonight. You got the win yesterday. Continue to win and get in the win column and try to narrow the gap between yourself, Chattanooga, and the Barons.
That's right. 8 games back of the first place Birmingham Barons, but the Smokies still have a few series to try and make up some ground. They're going to need some help from the rest of the Southern League, and they're going to have to put their own fate in their own hands and start coming out with a lot more of these W's that we saw last night. Thing I like to do, Daniel, we're talking about the Jameis Winston. We got to be eating these W's for the rest of the season, Daniel. So for Smokies fans watching on 92.5 or 1180 WKCE, stay tuned right here on radio for all the action. 7 o'clock first pitch start. It'll be voice of Smokies baseball, Mick Gillespie, and myself, Connor Nelson, along for the call and the ride for all 9 innings. So, friends, tune in for all the action. But right now, for producer Dan and upgraded version Daniel Iverson up here on the stream, and myself, Connor Nelson, voice of Smokies baseball, Mick Gillespie, and out on assignment, Richie Giuliano, signing out for the Smokies Baseball Network. We hope everyone has a great night at Covenant Health Park on Family Game Night, and come support for UT Night tomorrow night. And, as always, let's go Smokies.
Fans, for the first time in over 25 years, it's time to introduce your Knoxville Smokies.
Go Smokies! Woo!